Day 6 Reading The Power of Faith. A long time ago, there lived an able and just king named Dhruvasanti who ruled the kingdom of Kosla. He had two beautiful wives, Manorama and Lilavati, who each had a son named Sudarshan and Shatrujit. The boys were only a month apart in age and were raised in a lifestyle befitting the royal status. One day, the king went to the forest to hunt and was unexpectedly killed by a lion. Shocked by the unexpected loss, the people of the kingdom mourned their king's death. Traditional dictated that Sudarshan, who was the older boy and Manorama's son, ascend the throne. However, Yudhajit, Lilavati's father, strongly felt that his grandchild Shatrujit was better suited for the crown. Yudhajit was a clever king, and after some thought, he arrived in Kolsa with his army to invade the kingdom's capital city of Ayodhya in an effort to make Shatrujit the new crown prince. Veersen, Manorama's father, countered the attack and stormed the city with his own force in support of his grandson Sudarshan. The two sides battled each other and Veersen was killed. When Manorama learned of her father's death, she became terrified. She was certain that her son's life was in danger in Ayodhya, so she escaped with him. On the banks of the river Ganga, a revered sage named Bharadwaj took pity on both the queen and the young prince and provided them with care and shelter. With Sudarshan now here in sight, Shatrujit safely ascended the throne and became the king of Kosla. One day, Yudhajit, Shatrujit's grandfather, learned that Sudarshan was under the protection of Bharadwaj. He thought of killing him so that the firstborn prince could not pose a threat to the throne. However, the kingdom's wise minister advised him not to proceed with this plan while the boy was under the hermit's protection. In the hermit's ashram, Sudarshan heard a fascinating mantra one day. However, later he could recall only the first word of the mantra and began chanting it repeatedly. Klim, klim. Little did he know the word signified the sacred Devi. Years went by and the chanting became a part of Sudarshan's daily routine. Devi, who had finally noticed the young boy and his innocent devotion, appeared before him. She blessed him with a divine bow and arrow and promised her protection to him. Meanwhile, Shashikala, the beautiful princess of Kashi, and an ardent devotee of Devi, heard about Sudarshan and Devi's blessing to him. Instantly, she felt a connection to him and fell in love despite never having met him. Subahu, Shashikala's father, had arranged her Swayamvar, a grand gathering of prospective husbands from whom the bride would choose a groom, and invited many princes to attend. But Shashikala abruptly informed him that her groom would only be Sudarshan. This upset her parents. Sudarshan was a prince without a kingdom and any supporters, but what dissuaded them most was his powerful enemy and half-brother Shatrujit. They advised Shashikala, "Please, dear daughter, you must change your mind for the sake of your future." Shashikala, however, remained firm, unwavering in her decision. Reluctantly, Subahu sent a trust messenger to the forest to invite Sudarshan to the upcoming Swayamvar through the princess' parents. Still hope that one of the other prince attending the event would change their daughter's mind. On receiving the invitation, Sudarshan grew eager to attend the event. But his mother, the queen in exile Manorama, stopped him, afraid of what lay ahead. "Oh, my dear child, please don't go," she said. "I know you have received a royal invitation, but it was sent just days before the Swayamvar. That in itself implied that you are not an important tutor for the princess. I am sure that Shatrujit will also be there, and I don't want to lose you the way I lost your father." Sudarshan smiled. "Mother, please don't worry. Devi is with me. I belong to the clan of warriors, so do you, as do you. It is perfectly acceptable to be afraid, but it shouldn't stop us from pursuing our path. We must push ahead." "But you are my precious son," remarked Manorama sadly. Sensing that her son would not let this go, she said, "Well, if you must go, then I'll come too." Sudarshan agreed, and soon the mother and son journeyed to Kashi. When they reached, King Subahu welcomed them with great respect, honor, and hospitality. The next morning, Sudarshan ran into his half-brother Shatrujit at the Swayamvar. Shatrujit was accompanied by his grandfather Yudhajit. "Why are you here?" Shatrujit asked, barely hiding his contempt. "This is not the place for you. You don't even have an army." "I am here with Devi, and hers is the only support I need," responded Sudarshan. Just then Shashikala entered the hall with a garland. Softly she said to her unhappy parents standing nearby, "I don't know how many princes have come here today expecting my hand in marriage. But the truth is that it doesn't matter at all. My decision has already been made. I am going to marry Sudarshan." The helpless and anxious king knew that he had to call off the Swayamvar immediately. He made a loud announcement. "My daughter has decided to marry Sudarshan. Hence, the Swayamvar will no longer take place. We welcome you as our esteemed guest, and I request each of you to accept a few gifts. Please have a meal with us before you journey back to your own kingdoms." Yudhajit became livid. He yelled, "If your daughter had already chosen Sudarshan, why did you invite the other princes? This is an insult to all of us, and I will not tolerate it. I am going to abduct your daughter and force her to marry my grandson Shatrujit." King Subahu grew pale. His army was no match for the strength and skill of Yudhajit's forces. So he turned to his daughter. "My dear child, do you see the situation you have put us in? I beseech you, please change your mind and peace will prevail." "I am sorry, dear father, but I must abide by my decision," responded Shashikala. Undeterred, she approached Sudarshan and garlanded him, indicating to the guests present that she was now betrothed to him. In an instant, the whole turned into a battleground as Yudhajit and Shatrujit soldier attacked the kingdom's guard with great force. The other parties joined one of the two sides, and the battle seemed like it would never end. Suddenly, Devi appeared in the room out of nowhere, mounted on a ferocious tiger. She wore a red sari, spotted a garland of mandara flowers around her neck, and had weapons clutched in her multiple hands. It was almost as if Sudarshan instinctively knew what to do next. He brought out his divine bow and began shooting arrows in quick succession. When the soldiers in the room saw Devi, they put their arms down and retreated. Yudhijit, however, too caught up in his desire to slay Sudarshan, did not recognize her. To him, she was just a woman. He roared at his soldier. Why are you crowd fleeing at the sight of a woman? Surround Sudarshan and kill him. With a slight smile and without a word, Devi killed both Yudhijit and Satrujit with her perfectly aimed arrows. This story of Devi's power and her execution of justice quickly spread everywhere. In due course of time, Sudarshan was crowned the king of Kolasa. He remained a devotee of Devi and dedicated one day a year in his kingdom to the goddess. Thank you so much.